Does allowing our children, okay, and this is a very worldly thing. Does allowing our children to choose sexual identity lead to them having the ability to choose sexual activity?
Gosh. So does our kids letting them choose their sexual
Identity.
identity, that's the first one?
Mhm.
Let them choose that. Does that lead to
Sexual activity.
man?
So, do you want me to tease that out just a little
Yeah,
bit more?
'cause
Okay, so if I allow my 5-year-old, right, to
Mhm.
choose their gender,
Right.
okay, so they have that authority, right, because they are well put together and
Right.
have a firm grasp on reality at 5,
Mhm.
enough to choose that, I am a whatever gender I want to be.
Right, right.
Does that then give them credence to choose sexual activity? Meaning, this 5-year-old that has chosen this can now say, I really love, that 18-year-old or adult man or woman. Um, and so, yeah, I'm going to be engaged in sexual activity with this individual.
Gosh, dang it, man. It's scary stuff because I want to hear what you have to say because I don't I ca- I'm hesitant to speak on the psyche of a child. However, I do want to speak on the 18-year-old you just mentioned in the example.
Mhm.
I feel like that is a step for that person to get a grasp on this child because I think the world is blurring those lines
Mhm.
of distinction,
Mhm.
of gender,
Right.
of sexuality.
Mhm.
And I'm going to be honest, maybe people think I'm crazy, but I think age is coming. I think age is going to be something that we try to blur, which is pretty
It's so
freaking wicked,
silly.
man. It's
Right. Yeah.
wicked.
Yes. I don't disagree.
So, the first thing, does letting them choose their identity?
Does it lead to this? I mean, does it open that box?
Man.
And again, we're not being prophetic. It's not
No, no,
nothing
no,
like
no.
that. I just again
Fleshing out what is literally
right,
taking place in the world.
right, because I'm not with either. Okay, obviously,
Right, that's not what we're saying.
I'm not. Gender is not fluid,
No.
right? But I guess I'm proposing. Is this another danger that has the potential? Right? Because look, if you can sway a child, right? Because this is the thing: is that no child that is born a male or a female, either way, okay, is coming out and like, you know what, I'm definitely a woman, right? Without or a girl, without some level of coaxing, some level of coaching,
Sure, man.
some level of like, hey, this is a possibility.
No, I've already, and maybe you can say the same thing, but I've already done the gag with my 3-year-old daughter where I'm like, I'm a woman, and she'd be like, no, you're a man.
Right.
Like she already knows. Like
Right. Exactly. But it doesn't mean that like there isn't some level of curiosity, right? Like as a kid, maybe. Okay, I'm not.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I'm not diminishing that, but the fact that that you are a boy or a girl, and that is what you are. Not there's this other option. Okay,
Right.
so I'm going to tease that out just a
Okay.
little bit, right? So there has been some, and I'm not saying coaching. Okay, I'm not gonna. There probably are those who do that. Okay, and that's
I'm
disgusting,
convinced there
right?
is.
As
Yeah,
parents,
yeah.
but let's just say that they've opened that door for the possibility that little Johnny could be Jill, right?
Right.
Okay, so if that's happening, then who's to say the little Johnny doesn't have an older, I'm a pervert, right? A pedophile.
Sure.
Okay, it is what it is. Okay, that doesn't get in their ear. It doesn't provoke this, hey, whatever. And that's disgusting. But I guess I'm just asking if we allow a kid to choose their sexual identity, at some point are we going to have to give up the ability for them or the restraint to say like, yeah, I guess if you want to be sexually active with the neighbor boy or whomever,
Yeah.
right? I guess I can't say no.
I'll get on board with that, man, because we're actually already seeing not a lot, thank God. I think we will see a lot. I think it will grow, but we're already seeing small numbers of children and it's mostly boys who choose to identify as little girls, or at the very least, they'll wear the makeup and wear drag. These are little young boys.
Gosh dang.
And it's made headlines. We've seen 2 or 3 examples of it now in the past couple of years, where these little boys. So here's what we're seeing. I'll just say what we're seeing, and then I'm gonna dissect that. What we're seeing is these little boys claim to be a girl, and they're wearing drag, they're wearing makeup, whatever, and they're dressing. I mean, I'm not afraid to use this word, so buckle up, everyone. But they're dressing slutty. Okay, there is a way they are dressing. Then what we are seeing is older men celebrate them.
Right.
And we've seen, I wish I was making this up, but we've even seen photos of these young boys dancing for older men, and they're throwing money at them. Okay. So let's dissect that. Here's what the world is doing, man. They're blurring that line of distinction between gender.
Right.
Okay. And any sexual identity, the world just praises. I mean, be the more promiscuous you are, the more empowering it is. So good for you.
Right. Yeah.
So I'm on board with you, man. If we're gonna celebrate that, then that trickles down to children. So when little children are dressing up as I'm a boy, but I'm gonna be a girl in drag makeup, they celebrate that. And since we've blurred that line of no gender, it follows you have to blur the line of any other distinction that is made in the sexual realm. And so we're seeing that these little children being praised and celebrated by older men, and that is disgusting.
It is. And too, like you had kind of opened up with saying that this isn't something that we see a lot of, but it's kind of.
But the fact that we even see one,
okay, but
should make you vomit.
Think about the slow fade, right? I don't know if you remember, and I'm sure you do remember growing up and some of the sitcoms or shows where it's like, the 70s show, and again, that's not that old, but like Fez, right? Or what? Right? Was that his name?
Yeah.
Right, like there's something a little different, right?
Right.
Okay, but that has been that progression that we've seen where now it's like Superman's coming out as gay, right? Or bisexual or whatever it is.
In the
world.
But
so it was very like if it were in a TV show. So it's almost like this like, hey, I'm just going to gently set this here.
Right.
And then, it's going to become more prevalent and, and then, we have movies about it in general. And then now it's just like on Disney.
Yes. Yeah.
So.
So I'm sorry, but don't fall for the argument. Don't let it tug at your heart that it's something to be celebrated as if they're being persecuted, because that's what they're doing. That was the way in, right? That we're actually celebrating it. Good for them. It's brave. No, that was a lie, because then what they do is it's shocking. So what do you have to do when something is shocking? You have to amp it up,
right?
Because you get used to it.
Right.
And so I'm with you, man. You go over the past 20 years, the change is wild. You go over the past 5 years, change is wild. What's being in
that's true.
Not just media alone, but I mean children's movies. Children's movies.
Absolutely.
Our comic books. Like, and here's the thing, I feel silly defending a comic book, and you can make fun of me too and be like, well, it's just a comic book, mind your business. That's not the point, man.
Right.
You know good and well what you're doing when you're trying to shove that stuff down our generation's throat.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Good grief,
absolutely. Man. There is a shift, man, and it is sad, and we're seeing the implications of that, right? Like you look at just society as a whole. I mean, we're having conversations that the conversation we're just now having about a child choosing their gender,
man.
But the thing is that it's becoming, or they're pushing it to be a normal thing.